Welcome back to this podcast, Six Tokens. I'm Deric. This is my brother Ryan. We are back this week. It's been a couple weeks. I'm a little, out of sorts. I'm
Yeah, we've kind of
trying to get used to it again.
took a little time
Wheels are a
off.
little rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here we are, and start this week off with a retro ramble like every week. And I left you last episode with the question: what's a song that you're not ashamed to admit brings a tear to your eye? And I'm going to add a caveat here. And why is it a country song?
Ah! Did you add that when you asked me that question last time?
No, I added it just now.
Oh,
Just now.
okay.
I'm making a prediction.
Well, okay.
So was I right or wrong? Is it a country song for you?
You were wrong. You were wrong.
Oh, man. Okay.
I know.
What you got?
So it's also maybe my favorite song, "Against the Wind," Bob Seger.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
I think about my life. Like, as the older I get, the more I relate to that song, and and then I think about our father, and I think about even like our aunt Kathy. Like, I remember she told me one time, like, we were listening to that song, and she's like, I remember when this song first came out, I was working on my house. So I just envision her like working on the outside of that house in Laclede, just like driving nails in or whatever. And so that makes me feel nostalgic for, just being a kid there and, visiting her and Laclede and just kind of everybody from our family that's, passed on now. So I get all these emotions when I listen to Against the Wind. And I love it every time. So.
All right. That's a pretty good one. For me, it's Tim McGraw, "Don't Take the Girl."
Yeah. Yeah.
Heard this one back in the 90s when it first came out. I was mid to late teens. And it didn't hit emotionally, but there was definitely there was something there that I could feel like deep down, like starting, like I could, it connected or it resonated in some way, I guess aspirationally at the time. And I didn't quite understand it. Then time goes on, I get a little older and I'm hearing it again now. And now it just hits differently. It brings up, it just like taps into all those emotions, and it really makes me think about my wife and my kids and how much they mean to me, and not wanting to lose them and all that. And for me, it's Tim McGraw, "Don't Take the Girl." That one, that's a hard one to listen to. I can't listen to it very well.
Yeah. To be honest, there's a lot. There's like, as I've gotten older, you get more life experience. There's a lot of songs that kind of bring tears to my eyes a little bit, and for different reasons. There's some I listen to and I think about. It just brings me back to a time that like I miss, or something like which I guess like I said, Against the Wind kind of does that. I don't know. Music's one of those things that you listen to it and it can really transport you back to some other time. And it's interesting.
It's amazing how a song that was recorded before you were even born can enter your life at one point and ride with you. Yet that song does not change, but you change, and through those changes, that song changes for you.
Yes.
And it's just incredible.
Absolutely,
music is just powerful like that.
It is. They've done studies before. They actually there's a documentary that was called "Alive Inside," and they've done studies with people that have Alzheimer's, and they will play music. In particular, they had one guy where he had really bad Alzheimer's, and his wife would go visit him every day. And they played the song that they danced to at their wedding, and within like a few seconds, you could see him like light up, and then he started he remembered her, like he was like
he was there, he was
like
transported.
And he like was looking at her and was like remembering who she was and everything. And it's a really interesting thing, but like they've done a lot of studies on this, how music will will unlock that, even for a brief time. And yeah, it's super
It's
wild.
incredible.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's why music's important to people.
Yeah.
And there's just a connection with it. But all right, well, with that, let's get on to our episode.
Sorry to get too heavy.
No, that's fine. That's what we're here for.
Get in the comments. Let us know. What song brings a little tear to your eye. Let us know. We'd love to read it.
What
love
song
to
hits
talk
you
about
emotionally?
It. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna roll the intro. Your local video store card.
A comic book in your back pocket.
Games with no tutorials.
Music you had to discover.
And drinking water straight from the hose.
These are the things us millennials remember fondly. We are the Jennings brothers.
Join us after the streetlights come on
as we race our bikes from the top of the hill
right down memory lane.
Exchange those quarters because this podcast takes tokens.
Do you really want a podcast? Do you wanna? Well then, let's find out. That's fine with me. Come on, let's do it. Let's token. Let's do it. Do you wanna? I wanna. Let's do it. Today, we're not too old for this token, and we're covering one of my all-time favorite movies, Lethal Weapon.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, there's just I couldn't find a good there wasn't a lot of monologuing, so there wasn't a lot to go with
there's not
to do this. I thought about it right as I came in and sat down, and I was like, oh, the part where he runs in to Murtaugh's bedroom, and he has that epiphany at night, and he wakes him up with the coffee and everything, and he's like, oh hey, I was thinking about it last night, and blah 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 blah, and I was like, oh, that might be a good one. Let me go see if I can find the transcript for it. And I couldn't find it. That's what I was searching for. Right before we went online, I was trying to find that so I could work with that.
Yep.
And I couldn't find it. And I was like, okay, this will work. I'll roll with that. So I appreciate everybody sitting through that and humoring me as I butchered it.
Yeah, you did a good job. I thought it was fun. So,
well, thank you. All right, let's run the numbers.
It's got to be better than my Pauly Shore impression a couple episodes ago with Ferncino.
Oh, that's pretty fun. I enjoyed that one.
Let's run the numbers here.
All right, released March 6th, 1987, on a budget of $15 million. Opening weekend, worldwide gross. Which one are you going to guess at? Or both?
Well, I will say, I was just a few weeks old when this came out, but I'm happy that it came out within my lifetime. So, let's do, you said domestic or worldwide?
Opening weekend or worldwide.
Opening weekend. You tell me this every time, and I never can get it right. Opening weekend.
I think I might mix it up.
Give me what the budget was again.
$15 million.
$15 million. Opening weekend. I'm going to say this made $12 million.
$12 million? No. $6.9 million.
You're kidding me. Wow.
No, not kidding you. Care to take a guess at the worldwide gross?
Worldwide. With an opening weekend like that. Of course, you could have had word of mouth. I'm going to say 40 million worldwide.
120 million.
Okay.
It more than made up for it.
I mean,
earned its sequels.
Yeah, it had 3 sequels, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There had to be something there, right?
Yeah.
120 million. That's pretty good off a $15 million budget.
It is. Yeah. It is, yeah.
It's impressive. And this is Shane Black, writer Shane Black.
Yeah.
Another one of his movies. I think we did Monster Squad.
Yep.
I don't know if we did another one or not.
I think we just did Monster Squad.
But I was looking at his IMDb credits, and man, everything that he's written on, I've enjoyed. That I've seen, I've enjoyed. And I put it on our list as a rewatchable. Do you know he wrote all of the Lethal Weapon movies?
I did not know that. I knew it was the first one, but I didn't realize he wrote the other ones. I don't believe I've seen any of the sequels.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
you're in for a treat because
I-
I have them on the list.
Okay, I'm excited to
If
watch
not,
them.
then they will be on the list.
Yeah.
They should be on the list. If I haven't put them on there, they should be on the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of my favorite movies. I love this movie. I really didn't discover this movie until I was a little older, but we'll get back into that. Let me finish running the numbers. Rotten Tomato. Here's a fun one. Tomato meter, 80%. Popcorn meter, 86%.
So generally adored.
Pretty well received.
I don't want to say adored, but pretty well received
pretty
by
high.
all. Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be as high as it was, especially on both sides, to be that close.
Yeah. Usually it's
So yeah, that was
off. One's high, one's low. Usually on those things. So,
yeah.
Yep.
There's like a little discrepancy, usually like, I don't know, 10 or 15 points, something like that. But no, not here. And so I did the pleasure while I was on Rotten Tomatoes of looking at the reviews. And so I pulled up critic reviews and I just looked at the first two, well, the first Rotten and the first fresh review that popped up when I populated the list. I thought this might be kind of fun. These are professional reviews. Bob Thomas writes, Richard Donner directed with an expert eye for action, but impaired vision for logic. Rotten. Okay. I mean, that's
okay.
one opinion. Sure.
I can't disagree to an extent, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So,
It's an action movie.
it's an action movie. I know.
You have to leave a little room for logic.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know. Yeah.
All right. So David, not going to attempt to pronounce his last name. Nusair, I guess I will attempt. Nusair, Nusair, David Nusair says, it's not difficult to see why Riggs and Murtaugh became downright iconic figures after seeing the release of this picture. I would agree.
Yeah.
They are iconic figures for sure. I mean, the trailer definitely highlights them as iconic.
Oh, yeah.
That, split color grade motif they did there. But then I thought it'd be fun to throw in a couple of average, everyday person reviews that I was reading through, and I found a little humorous. Noah R. writes, and I quote, Noah, says, that was awesome, ! 4.5 stars. Noah nailed his review.
Yes.
Loved it. Alan G. writes, a fun movie, good buddy plot, great action. Unfortunately, the sequels suck. Each attempt worse than the previous. Schmo Pecky ruins the whole franchise as usual. He should just stick to mob roles. 3 stars. Now, I got a little grievance with Alan here. You're rating this movie based on the sequels. Your rating should be reserved strictly for the movie that you're talking about. This is a critique on your critique, if you will. Stephen Paul C. writes, the greatest 1 hour, and 49 minutes ever, rated R for language, and graphic sequences of action, violence / gore, starring Mel Gibson and Danny Glover as detectives solving a murder case in Los Angeles, California. I don't know why he used 20 exclamation points after these specific words, but
fair enough.
Hey, that's what you want to do when you write a review. That's what you want to do when you write a review.
Everyone's a critic.
Everyone's a critic, but they were fun. I scrolled through them, found a couple of fun ones. I thought I'd share with y'all.
That's good.
But all right, Lethal Weapon. Like I said, this is one of my favorite movies. I saw this a few times probably growing up. Like the tape was probably floating around a relative's house and we'd watch it every once in a while, but I did not gain an appreciation for it until I was probably 20. And they put out the box set DVD, the director's cut box set DVD, and I picked that up. It was back whenever DVDs for the younger audience were a form of digital movie media that was pretty hot in the early 2000s. And so I picked that up and watched them all straight through in one sitting, me and a couple friends, and watched them again and again and again over the next coming weeks. Enjoyed them so much and have watched them so many times. I will say that was the director's cut version of it, and that's what I'm used to seeing. So whenever I watched it this time, I'm watching a streaming version of it, and it's not the director's cut version of it. So there were some things that were missing that I thought I remembered. And then I thought, well, maybe they were in one of the later sequels. And I went and I was looking at doing some research for this episode, looking at some of the behind the scenes stuff. And it was talking about the director's cut version of it. And I remembered, oh yeah, I watched the director's cut a lot. And there are some scenes that are missing from this version of it. Like there was a scene where Riggs went and took out a school shooter. There was a sniper at a school.
Oh.
And he took him out pretty effectively, in true Riggs style. And there was another scene where he threw a beer bottle through his TV and broke it and had to go, and then in a subsequent scene went out and bought a new one. And then there was another scene where he picked up a call girl on the street, and she asked what he had in mind, and he said, I just want somebody to come back to my trailer and watch Three Stooges with me. And then it cut to a scene of them hanging out, watching Three Stooges, enjoying a couple of beers.
I would have liked to see that.
Yeah. So that's the, I remember those pretty vividly, and not having them in here, I felt a little, like I was missing something.
Yeah.
No, there's a director's cut out there. Let's just use that one. Why do we have to, I don't know. But I just wish those options were all available.
Yeah, and I had no idea there was a director's cut. Like I watched this, I just watched the regular cut of it. I had no idea there was even a director's cut. So I was missing something I didn't know I was missing.
So when was the first time you remember really watching this movie?
Actually sitting down and really watching it? Yesterday. I mean, I remember bits and pieces of it. I don't ever remember actually sitting down and watching it growing up. I mean, it's always been there. It's always been there, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so ingrained in pop culture. I'm too old for this, you know, and all this stuff. But this is the first time in my memory, my adult memory, that I have sat down and actually watched this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Really liked it.
It was a lot of fun. I remember going in, and I don't want to talk about the sequels too much, but I remember going and seeing the fourth one when it came out, like over the summer, up there visiting, and I went to the theater and caught the fourth one, and enjoyed that. And then I think I watched the others again over that summer and was like, oh, okay, yeah, these are fun. But then I kind of put it away, and I didn't really watch them again until, like I said, I got those director's cuts in my early, well, it's like 20, and was watching them with friends over and over and over. And that's whenever I really, really grew to appreciate them. That and like the Rocky anthology, if you will.
Oh, sure.
4 or 5 of them that they did a director.
Rocky 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, not all those.
It just keeps going.
But yeah, so that's kind of the time in your life too, whenever you discover rediscover a lot of things, I suppose, is, you know, your early 20s when you're hanging out with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And for me, this was one of them. And again, it's just one of my favorite movies. I've watched it so many times. This is a movie that I would put on my tablet and bring to work and watch on lunch breaks over, you know, a couple breaks or something like that throughout the day. And I've seen it so many times, but I really enjoy it. Yeah. So I thought this was interesting. How old do you think they were in this movie? Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
I'm going to say Mel Gibson was probably no older than 30.
Okay.
And then Danny Glover.
I'm talking real life, not what they said in the movie.
Right.
Just to clarify. Because I know they said Danny Glover's 50.
Yeah. I'm saying Danny Glover was probably... And that's what I meant when I said for Mel Gibson. So I'm saying no older than 30. Danny Glover, probably 35, maybe.
Oh, really? 35. Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Mel
probably
Gibson
wrong,
was,
I guess.
Mel Gibson was 29.
Okay.
Which is, I would think, like, around, like you said, right around 30, maybe not crossing 30. Danny Glover was 41, which is younger than I am now. And I'm...
yeah, I know.
I'm feeling a little weird about that watching it this time. I'm watching it, and I'm seeing that opening scene with him in the bathtub, and I'm like, man, he's in great shape. He looks good. There's no way he's 50. And sure enough, he's 41.
Can I touch on that scene? I mean,
yeah.
Who is going to go and surprise Dad for his birthday while he's in the bathtub?
No, that's a very close family.
Soaking.
Yeah, no bubbles.
I watched this and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what? I don't know if I want to be a part of this family. Like, how does this go? They got the cake. They've got everything. Yep. And Roger's just sitting there bearing it all. And they're acting like there's nothing going on.
Washcloth roll maybe around in there. We don't know. Maybe one of those little trays you lay across the tub. I don't know. But I'm with you. I always felt like, oh, this is. Am I weird or is this a weird family?
It's weird. It's weird.
We didn't do that.
Yeah. No.
Shower time's private time. It's not a family event. But yeah. 41. He was playing 50, which, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, like, I guess I'm a little like, he's 41. Here I am. I'm 44. And, I'm getting to that age now where I'm starting to be older than all these people in these movies and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's giving me feelings.
But they don't look like they look older in these movies though. And it's just, we talked about this before. I've talked about it with my wife, talked about it with so many different people. People looked so much older back then. And I don't know if it was the hairstyles, like mustaches really do it, I think, and mustaches were kind of big back then. But yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I watched some of these movies and then I look at the age these actors were, when they shot the movies, and I'm like, you're kidding me. Like, I am like, Mel Gibson. Like, I'm 9 years older now than he was in that movie. It's just, it's bananas. And I think he looks older than I do. So, I don't know. It's the mullet.
It's the mullet. It's the mullet.
Yeah.
That's true. It is a mullet. But, no, anyways. So, on I should say, I don't know how to phrase this. Let me think about how I want to phrase this. So, does your perspective change with age when you were younger and you saw this, was Riggs crazy in your mind?
I can't answer it because I don't remember him. I don't remember him being crazy. What's your answer though? Like, cause I don't remember. I remember like more the action sequences, like the fight at the end. Like I remember that quite a bit, and just different things like that. So I can't.
But giving no thought to his mental.
Oh yeah.
State throughout this movie.
Can't fairly judge it now. Looking at it, like, so I'll tell you from an adult perspective now. But no, he's not crazy. He's lost his wife. Like he's not crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, for sure. That's. I think that's like whenever you've had some life experiences, that's how you see it.
Yeah,
is like he's just dealing with emotional trauma, and maybe not handling it the best. Although for the time, maybe he is handling it the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, like younger watching it, he definitely stood out as something was off. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but he was definitely dealing with something, but I didn't think about it too much. Like you said, it wasn't something that I gave a lot of thought. And then in my early 20s, it was just like, oh man, he's unhinged. He's a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we're watching it. I'm like, oh no, like he's dealing with some stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's some depth, going, there's some acting going on here. He's definitely he's hurting on the inside, and Mel Gibson is definitely projecting that pretty well, I'd say. I would say, yeah. But yeah, this movie. Well, I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning.
Okay, let's go.
Opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
This movie starts off with a little yin and yang, if you will. Like we got the Christmas music playing,
A
and
little more than yin and yang, but
everything's like dark, views of the city, LA. Setting it up. It's Christmas time, and then this movie lets you know right away that it is a rated R movie.
Oh, yeah.
No question about it.
It does.
In every possible way you could get a rated R strike, just about, I'd say probably 8 out of 10 of them.
Yep.
They hit them all here in the first opening scene. And yeah, there's our yang, if you will, that it is a rated R movie. We have all the telltale signs, if you will. Mm-hmm. So definitely not a movie to watch with the kids. At least not the first 5 minutes, I would say. I don't know how you feel about the rest of it.
Maybe another 25 minutes in when Roger's got that tape, and he's...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's watching the tape by himself.
Yeah.
Well, Riggs, Roger, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not the best thing. I don't know. If you're a police officer and you have this evidence presented to you, where do you watch it? You bring it into the office?
I would.
Do you watch it at home?
I mean, I would.
Guess, in the office.
He knows what that is. I wouldn't be watching that at home. he's right there in the living room, in front of God and everybody. Just it's Christmas time, kids. Let's see what's on TV.
That's the 80s. Bedtime meant bedtime.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't come back out.
But yeah, I mean, watching the beginning of this, you're right. It's just like you've got the nudity, you've got the drug use, you've got the suicide, you've got like all that. And it's you're like, okay, this is the kind of this isn't the movie that I thought I was going to see when I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it does do a good setup. And so
and it really does a good job throughout of balancing that action and comedy. Like there's a lot of like little, I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but there's all these little like quips throughout that Riggs will drop on Murtaugh or somebody else, some other character. He'll just drop a little quip, and I always love those.
Yeah. Well,
they're so much fun.
When we saw when we watched the trailer a few minutes ago, like when they're walking through the parking garage, and he's like they're asking each other about their guns, and Murtaugh pulls out his 6-shooter, his little revolver, whatever it is that was standard issue back in like the 40s. Yeah. Which I can't remember, how old is Riggs supposed to be? Like early 30s, I guess. So I
think he's probably supposed to be because they said that him and his wife had been married for 11 years when he lost her. So let's assume they got married at 20. Then he's probably early 30s.
Okay, so there's like a good almost 20-year age gap between these two guys. Then, in the movie.
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that right there might also play into a little bit of why we think everybody looks older at the time, because they're always playing up their age.
Yeah.
Nobody really plays down their age. Not until more recently do you see people kind of playing down their age as much. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it comes from. Everybody's always playing up their age.
Could be
41 to 50, 29 to mid 30s.
Now, how do you explain these ex NFL players though that look like they were 80 years old out there just beating?
Because they were beat up.
Yeah.
Every day of their life. Yeah, they ran hard, especially those ones from the 60s and 70s where they weren't really getting paid that much and they couldn't take care of themselves.
Missing teeth.
Fight for every meal. Yeah. No dental.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's probably where that's coming from.
So one thing about this that I noticed, and I couldn't, it was hard for me to turn off hearing it. Mel Gibson still has a little bit of his Australian accent in this movie. You can hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you not notice it?
I did not notice it.
Oh
No.
my gosh. I could hear it like almost every other line. And that's not detracting from the movie at all. Like, I still enjoy the movie a lot. But I'm like, oh yeah. And then Mindy, my wife, like she came in for a few minutes while I was watching it, and I had said something about like, oh yeah, this is, Mel Gibson's like this. He's pretty young in this one, and she was like, oh, I can hear his Australian accent like a couple times. It's weird. I don't know if this was like his first big like U.S. movie. Like, he'd done all like the Mad Max and Road Warrior and stuff like that, but I
did read that they flew him in from Melbourne to do the audition.
Okay.
So he was still living in Australia at the very least. I don't know about like what he was doing before this, because like I know there's Mad Max, and then they have this. Looking at the credits here, nothing stands out. I'm not familiar with a lot of these movies. He's done a couple of the Mad Max movies. I don't know where these other ones are filmed at. Then we got Lethal Weapon, Tequila Sunrise, Lethal Weapon 2, Bird on Wire. Then he goes full like American.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Definitely like American movies after that point.
He hits it in the 90s and just boom.
Yeah. So you're right. Maybe this is his first American, U.S. film. Because Mad Max was an Australian film, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could very well be. All right. Well, sticking with our, best buddy summer rewind here. When do you think they became best buddies in this movie?
It was after Riggs saved Murtaugh from the guy by the pool. He comes in and he thanks him, and he's like, boy, that must have been hard for you to do. And then, because at that point he invites him into his house to meet his family and everything. And so I think, okay, well, let me rephrase this. That was the spark of it.
2 scenes.
Yeah, that was the spark of it, I guess. The friendship happened at the house, like when they're in the boat and they're just hanging out drinking beer. Yep.
That's what I got. Somewhere between dinner and the boat, they became friends.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or they became buddies.
Yep.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Because from there on out, I mean, they're a team. They're a team. And Murtaugh tells him, he's like, I don't quite trust you yet, or I can't remember exactly what he says, but it doesn't make any difference. Like, I still think they're a team at that point, Like
he says something like, I don't know if I trust you yet, but we'll see if you kill anybody tomorrow or not.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of leaves it at that. Mm-hmm. Or if you get me killed tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's one of those little zingers I like.
Yeah.
It's fun. So, okay. Favorite quote from the movie? That kind of leads me there.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm too old for this. Like,
well, yeah,
I feel that. I feel that so much. Like, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. What's yours? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah.
Whenever it reminded me when we were watching the trailer, it's whenever they're sitting in the pool and right after the guy died, and he goes, "Have you met anybody you haven't killed yet?" And Riggs turns to him and he says, "Well, I haven't killed you yet, have I?"
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorites. So I marked that one real quick. Because it was that, or just like I said, all the little, there's all these under the breath quips that he throws out there.
Yeah.
I'm I love those. Those are so much fun. How about a favorite scene?
Oh, it's, I think it's where Riggs is getting tortured. It's
okay.
Not that he's getting tortured. That's not my favorite, but it's how he gets out of that. And then he goes in well, even from the beginning of that scene, he is full on military mode at that point.
Oh yeah.
And he ends up killing that henchman, which I can't remember. I don't even know what the guy's name is. He's a henchman in 500 movies back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he kills him, and then like he's just I don't know when he comes out and just murders all the other guys that are in that next room. That whole scene's just great to me.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I think so too. But for me, favorite scene was it's one of two. But I'm gonna give honorable mention to the opening scene with Riggs in the tree farm where he's negotiating the drug deal.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, it's gonna be 100, and he starts counting out $100. And he's like up to 98. And the guy's like, no, it's 100,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't make that kind of money.
I can't do that. Yeah.
That was funny. That was probably my second favorite. But my favorite is the shooting range scene whenever they're talking through like the scenario, what happened, and they're like, and then she stops and she says, "Token." Yeah, she actually stops and says "token," and like they're going through they're talking through like this very descriptive narrative of what they think happened. And that was great. I enjoyed that very much. And it's another like where they're becoming buddies.
Yeah, and what's that they say? Like, oh, that's pretty thin or something. But then they keep saying it because everything keeps coming to a head, and they're like, pretty thin, right? Oh yeah, it's pretty thin. And I love that. I love that because it's that dynamic. They're buddies. They're playing off each other at that point. Like they've got an inside joke now, And
and they call it back in like the future movies too. Like, this is pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's pretty. That one is probably one of my favorites for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, so we talked about Shane Black being the writer. Richard Donner, man, he was on a roll.
Oh yeah, yep.
Lethal Weapon though, man, that's a pretty big feather in your cap.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I'm watching this, and I'm like, I miss Mel Gibson, the action star. Like that, that to me, one of the best shots. It's kind of in the same scene of my favorite scene, but it's after Murtaugh and like he's got his daughter out and everything, and Riggs is going after Gary Busey,
running down the street with the gun.
He's got that gun holding up, and he's just running. And I'm like, this is a freaking action scene. Like, this is incredible. I love that whole shot. I love it. Yeah. And then when they're fighting, and the water's spraying up. Yeah. Oh man, I'm just like, gosh, I miss seeing Mel Gibson as an action actor. Yes. Yeah. And I miss like not crazy Gary Busey.
Even though he was maybe a little crazy here with the whole like burning of his arm with the cigarette and everything.
The character, yes, but like I think it was the year after this that like the actual actor got in a motorcycle wreck and then he had all his like brain injury and everything. But gosh, yeah, I like seeing Gary Busey and stuff. I think he did a good job as just some crazy lunatic villain. He just does a good job.
Like it seemed like there was very little to that character, but he brought a lot more to it than you'd expect. And I mean, what had Gary Busey done up to that point? Did they do 48 Hours at this point? Had that already been done? Or
I think 48 Hours had come out at this point. He also did. There was that one movie where he played Buddy Holly. I think that was a few years before this.
Oh,
it was one of his like really. I don't know if that was like his breakout hit or something, but like he was up for a lot of awards for that one.
I didn't know he played Buddy Holly.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else he'd been in before that.
There's the Buddy Holly story. Yeah. There's Fooling Around, The Bear, Silver Bullet, Hitchhiker.
Silver Bullet. I forgot he was in Silver Bullet. Yeah.
Eye of the Tiger, Lethal Weapon. There it is. He was in 48 Hours, wasn't he? Or am I thinking of Nick Nolte? I'm thinking of
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, not Gary Busey. That's the problem.
Yeah, pretty much the same person.
I mean, Really, they kind of are. Like,
Yeah.
there's always those actors that are like going up against one another. They're very similar. Gary
Yeah.
Busey, Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
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 I got them swapped. Sorry.
No, that's
Sorry
all right.
to whomever that offends the most. Or least. I don't know.
Yeah.
Be on whichever side, I suppose. Interesting bit of trivia for you here.
Sure.
Mel Gibson was considered for Die Hard, but turned it down.
I could see
Bruce
that.
Willis was considered for Lethal Weapon, but turned it down.
Can see it.
Additionally, Die Hard with a Vengeance was considered as a Lethal Weapon sequel script before it was turned into a Die Hard script. There's a lot of similarities between these two franchises.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, did Shane Black work on the Die Hard movies? I can't remember.
No, I don't know if he did or not. I can't remember.
Or Richard Donner, one of them. There's a connection there. I don't know exactly what the connection is, but I feel like there's another connection there.
I mean, they are a very there's a very similar tone to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this was a thing back
Joel Silver, that's the connection.
Joel Silver,
producer.
This was a thing back in the 80s, right? Like the cop was the quintessential like action hero. Like,
yeah.
It's not.
And after Die Hard, everything was, this is Die Hard, whatever. Die Hard on a plane or Die Hard, on a bus or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like they definitely, or like all the buddy cop moves after this were, this is Lethal Weapon, except, like we were talking about it with Rush Hour. It's a lot like Lethal Weapon, except, or I guess we're equating that more to Beverly Hills Cop than Lethal Weapon, but which Beverly Hills Cop came out before this.
Yeah.
But, so I just found that interesting that there's that many similarities.
Yeah.
And it kind of resonates. Like, I really do think of, like, the two of them in the same vein, if you will. But it's that whole 80s action cop thing like you were talking about.
And so my two things that I kind of feel like I see as almost one thing is Lethal Weapon in 48 Hours. I kind of feel like they're almost...
See, I haven't seen 48 Hours.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like they're almost... I don't know if it's maybe like the posters. I don't know. I think everything kind of seemed like it had like a silver sort of a look to it on all these like posters back then. And they're both buddy cop movies. And
I think that might be Donner again, or Joel Silver, one of the two. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like there's definitely a thread.
Yeah.
But, it's 80s action movies, like you said. Like all the best ones are kind of a part of the same pie, if you will. I don't want to say they're all the same, because they're all different, but they're part of the same pie, for sure. And I enjoy the pie.
What kind of a world would this be if all of these were like in the same shared universe?
Oh man.
I
like that idea.
I mean, these are some hardened cops. Like what's going on in these cities?
The Avengers of 80s. That needs to be we've got AI now. Can we do like a 80s action cop Avengers style movie coming up against like some cabal of 80s villains? Wow. Man.
Bring Alan Rickman back.
I need to. Yeah.
Yeah. It could have been like
do me some research on AI. Like this can be done.
Could have been
we have the technology.
A police version of the Expendables.
Yeah. Well, I guess they kind of did it with the Expendables. Didn't
they did, but the Expendables weren't like they were like more like Marines.
Yeah, they were
and stuff
older.
Like that. Yeah.
Not quite the same.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, we'll pivot. Riggs's wife, they said, recently died. And he's living in this camper on the beach. They said he was married for 11 years. There's no way he was married for 11 years. And him and his wife lived on a camper on the beach, right?
Sure.
So he had to have had a house with her somewhere. And a life. But none of that seems to be in this trailer. So did he just like ditch and sell everything? Or is there a house somewhere out there that he's just like letting sit and rot that reminds him too much of the family?
I think it all reminded him too much of her. and he just sold it.
He couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. I mean, and really, like, it's kind of another one of those tropes, right? Of like 80s, like the cool guy in the 80s, the cool action guy is always kind of broody.
Loner.
And he's a loner. Yeah. Like and how many times do we see like the cool guy is living in like a trailer on the beach, right?
I mean, that sounds kind of awesome, really.
I mean, it does. I mean, you know, he's just sitting there watching Three Stooges. He's doesn't have any clothes on. He's just drinking his beer and he's just living the life he wants to live, I guess, you know.
Hanging out.
I mean, all sorts of ways. Maybe not the life he wants to live. He'd like to live his life with his wife, but, you know, this is the life he's got, so this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's got his dog with him. Like,
yeah. Very loyal dog.
Oh, yeah.
Very loyal dog.
Yeah.
There with him. Why does every supporting character sound like the voiceover was an afterthought? Like they ran through all of the budget. Probably half of it went up the director's nose, I'm sure. This is the 80s. And they got done and they're putting together this movie and they realize they can't hear half of these supporting characters. So they got to have them all come in and do voiceovers, but it's like they needed everybody to do it in one day and they had like a $5 budget. Is it just me or do they sound awful, right? Like especially the daughter.
I didn't notice it.
You didn't notice. You noticed his accent.
I noticed the accent. You didn't notice the accent, so there we go.
No. Okay, all right, I'll give you that one.
That's the yin and the yang of this dynamic between us.
Yeah, it was bugging me. Like the daughter, like whenever she's talking, it's like almost like they dubbed her with a different actress, or she came back like 2 years after shooting and dubbed her lines again or something. And then a couple of like the supporting characters, well, mostly women, I will admit, sound off in this movie. Like their dialogue doesn't seem to match. It feels a little off. And I feel like this is maybe I've seen this in a few other movies too. And I don't know if it's just the product of the times or if it's just like, you know, they're tertiary actors. Nobody really pays attention that much. I mean, you didn't notice. So they don't really put much mind to it, perhaps. But maybe I'm just I'm spoiled by more modern movies where even like the supporting actors, the people that come in with one line, aren't just somebody off the street. It's somebody who, I don't know, delivers a character performance, if you will, as opposed to just reading lines. And the supporting characters felt like an afterthought to me, and that was kind of bugging me. That's one of the only things that bugs me in this movie is the supporting characters. They just kind of feel, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, like an afterthought.
I never really felt that way.
Okay.
But so I'll tell you what bugged me about this. If we're going to get into that.
Let's get into it.
So there was a couple things. Some of this, so that I'm still a little confused with the motivations of the villains. After watching it, I was like, I don't really know what their end goal was.
I never understand that.
Yeah.
Like every time there's a villain, like even in watching the news and somebody goes to like rob a bank and they're running out of the bank shooting at the cops or something, like you're one guy with a gun that has, let's say, 20 rounds in it. How far do you really think you're going to get against an army of police officers that are chasing you down? I never understand the motives of they definitely, there's no forethought. There's no planning for sure with the villains. As far as their motivations are concerned, I thought it was something to the effect of they had this whole drug ring thing going on that they cooked up in Vietnam, and they were just kind of trying to keep that going and trying to plug the holes, if you will, as far as like where people were starting to want out, like the guy, the best friend wanted out of it or whatever, and they killed his daughter to kind of send a message, and then they ended up having to kill him. But and then it just like the two cops that actually cared and weren't just going to like go, well, we couldn't solve the case, so we're going to walk away. We're on the case. And so they knew they had a couple of bloodhounds to deal with as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the reaction to it is definitely like, you could have just laid low. I bet you could have just like kind of rolled up carpet, moved somewhere else, and been fine.
Yeah.
But you came back pretty strong with the military forces that you had at your disposal, and it didn't quite pan out for you.
Well, when you start messing with somebody's family, like they do with Murtaugh, he's like, well, okay. It's just, and then him and Riggs have got such a bond, and I think, Riggs is like, well, I'm going to help you, like, I don't know if he actually says that in the movie, but like when they take his daughter, I get that vibe, like, I'm going to help you do this. Like, but so my other things were, it seemed, some of the scenes seem very convenient. Like they just show up to this house and right as they step on the lawn, it explodes.
Yeah.
And then the helicopter just comes up out of nowhere and kills the guy and then just takes off and leaves.
You can see the helicopter in the background.
Oh, you can?
As that scene's unfolding. Yeah. Off in the distance on the beach.
Okay.
You can see it kind of like going back and forth. Which, I mean, shooting from a moving helicopter, I don't know how accurate you can be, especially as accurate as they seem to be shooting that guy from so far away, through a window, through the juice box that he was holding, and taking him out.
Yeah.
Definitely a little far-fetched. But hey, we saw Riggs shoot a smiley face in his target earlier.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Mean,
yeah.
They were expert marksmen.
Yes.
I guess they got that going for them. But as far as the house blowing up, I thought about that this last time I was watching it. He was talking about the trigger device, and I'm not excusing it. Like it is a little bit of convenience for sure. But he was talking about the trigger device and how it's a mercury switch. So like some motion, I'm assuming, would then set that off.
Okay.
And so my thought was, as they're approaching the house, what's her name? Trixie? Probably crossed the house, went to the window or something, and noticed them coming, and either in her panic or as she was doing that, set it off. Is my thought.
Okay.
So, because it's a mercury switch triggered by motion, my thought then was, okay, that's probably, because I had the same thought you did. It's very convenient that this house happens to blow up right as they're walking up to it, which all the kids are like, do it again, do it again.
I know, yeah. And they acted like, I was surprised that they didn't know like those kids personally, because when they first pull up, it's like they're talking to the kids just like, oh, we've seen these kids before or whatever. And then they're having to, what's your name? And I'm like,
don't tell them your name, Alfred.
Yeah. Which I don't think Murtaugh's that great with kids. For having 3 kids, like, he's like, hey there, what's your name?
It's not an episode of Sesame Street, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I
would agree there.
The last thing that really bugged me, they're going after, I don't remember what his name is, Gary Busey. And Murtaugh's like, he knows where I live. He's at my house. Joshua. He's at my house. He knows where I live. We got to go save my family. So they get over there, and without having any idea at all where his family's at, if they're even in the house or not, he just like decides, let's just drive the car through the side of the house.
Yeah. Well, I think at that point they had gotten the family out because they left the note on the tree that says, family's not here. Sorry, bad guys, just us good guys, or something like that.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they had the note on the tree. That's what. But Joshua blew up in the front door. Like he riddled it with bullets first, and then kicked it in, and he's exploring the house, and he comes across that note that's on the Christmas tree. Yeah, so they cleared it first.
Maybe I just couldn't read.
But still, he he drove the car through his own front window.
Why? His wife's not going to be happy about that. Yeah, and missed him. Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, every sequel and every, I should say, installment of this franchise, his house is being worked on in some fashion.
Okay.
Except for one of them where I think Riggs' house is being worked on.
Okay.
But I thought that was pretty funny. It's a nice little like through line throughout all of them.
Yeah. Those are my qualms with it. But did I ever?
Yeah. Did you ever see the show they did recently? They did a Lethal Weapon TV series on Fox.
No.
A couple years back. Yeah. It's pretty good. Had Damon Wayans in the Danny Glover part.
Okay.
And I can't remember the actor. There was some actor that played the Riggs part, and he did a pretty good job with it, I thought, except he got a little too into the role and was getting rough with some of the other actors on set, and apparently was abusive. And so they had to let him go after like the first or second season. Because I think it went for like 3, maybe 4 seasons.
Okay.
And they let him go after like the second, before the last season.
Okay.
They let him go, and then they brought it back for one more season, and they replaced him. Like, they killed him off. Like, they killed off the Riggs character completely.
Okay.
And then replaced him with, what's his name?
Sean William Scott.
Stifler.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Sean William Scott, yes.
Yeah. Huh.
Who did a pretty good job. Like, he played a little more of a quiet version of Riggs, like a more internalized version of Riggs. And he did a pretty good job about it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a fun one. Dame Wayans was a lot of fun with it. Yeah, it was a fun little show.
So was it just it wasn't a continuation? It was just like a reboot.
No, it was like a soft reboot. Yeah, they just converted it into a TV show. So like the first like episode or 2 played out very similar to like the movie.
Okay,
and then it kind of like progressed
its own thing
as such. Yeah. Kind of went off and did its own thing. And they were kind of setting up like a lot of the same characters from the universe to be introduced as the show went on. But then the whole thing happened with the first guy, and they kind of changed it up a bit, and things went a little bit in a different way. I kind of liked where it was going, but yeah, like it only lasted I think one more season with Sean William Scott, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like if you ever in the mood looking for a show to watch yourself, it's a fun little show. They are still talking about a Lethal Weapon 5
with the original cast.
Yep. With the original cast, which I was looking at because there was an article that came up from May of this year where Mel Gibson was like, yeah, when Richard Donner passed away, one of the last things that we had talked about is he wanted me to direct the next Lethal Weapon movie if he wasn't around for it. And so I'll be directing it, and we're all on board, we're ready to do it. We're just having, we're stuck with the studio and getting a script approved and all this other stuff. And so like, apparently it's like up to the studio now. I don't know. But they were showing him and a picture of him and Donald Glover recently. And I'm like, I don't know if Donald Glover's up for this. 'Cause he was sitting in all the photos.
I see. Yeah.
He's like, I think he's in his 80s now. And, I don't know that Donald Glover's up for it, but I could see them doing something like they did with the recent Top Gun, with Val Kilmer. He wasn't in the best of health, but they still included him in a smaller role, and they did a pretty good job with that. I could see them doing something similar with Donald Glover, kind of one last hurrah. Like maybe Riggs is out to avenge him in some way, or Donald Glover is working behind a desk or something like that, or he's truly retired, and he's just kind of like
now he's really too old for this.
He's really too old for this. He delivered that line one last time. You think that he says that? You think Donald Glover says that ever? Like, I'm just getting too old for this token on a daily.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I don't know. I was hopeful for a 5th one, and then they did the TV series, and I was like, yeah, okay, this works. And then now I'm like, if they do a 5th one, I guess, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would expect from it at this point. I feel like it might be a little too long in the tooth.
A little too late. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that wraps it on Lethal Weapon for me. How about you? You got any final thoughts on Lethal Weapon?
The only other thing I wanted to touch on, and it again with the practical effects. It's just, you can't beat
Yeah.
them. You know, they just, there's so much, watching an explosion, that house exploded. Like that was an explosion. Like that wasn't.
Yeah. And do you notice the plane flying behind it?
Mm-mm.
Like there's a plane, like, before the house explodes, you can see a plane flying. Then there's the explosion. And every angle that they cut through, you can see that same plane continuing on its trajectory in the background. That is one shot, one take, one explosion. They did it, and that was it.
Wow.
And, you know, he rushes over and he starts patting him down. The stunt guy, patting down the other stunt guy, because he actually, like, started to catch on fire. Like, there's a little flame that hit him.
Yeah.
And so they had to, like, you know, work that into the movie, if you will. But, yeah, that's, like you said, practical effects. You can't beat them.
No. Please give us more practical effects. Like I don't want to see a computer generated like explosion. I want to see.
Right.
I want to see a real explosion.
It's cheap and it feels cheap.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right. What you got stale popcorn wise? Anything for me this week? Stale popcorn wise?
Yeah. You know, I was telling you before the show that I had thought about something earlier this week and it's now escaped me. So I guess it's going to wait till next week.
All right. Well, I do have a little stale popcorn. I guess it's not. I don't know if I want to call it stale popcorn. This isn't really like. But we were on vacation this last week, and I was with my family, and I'm going to share this photo with you here. If I can make this bigger, that'd probably be better. There we go. How about like that? Oh, I gotta drop that. I got like graphics up here. I got to take away real quick. Okay, so. We were in Dover, New Hampshire, which is the birthplace of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they have this manhole cover to commemorate the 1984 birth of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Eastman and Laird out front of their old apartment where they came up with it and drew the first comic and all this other stuff, which the apartment isn't there anymore. It got torn down, but this is still there. And I thought it was pretty fun and interesting. I thought I'd share it.
That's very cool. Yeah. So if you, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of an echo, but, if you're one of the audio listeners and you're not, our YouTube watcher or whatever, it's a pretty cool little manhole. You should, go check out the video and you can see it. So.
Yeah. So that was all I had. That was my, stale popcorn, if you will. Yeah. Like I said. Not really stale, I guess, just reheated. I don't know what you want to call it.
Reheated. Oh, gosh, I'd rather have stale than a reheated popcorn.
Oh, I can't imagine. Gummy. Speaking of gum, no gum under the seat this week?
No gum under the seat. Leave us comments. Leave us reviews. Yes. We appreciate them, and we'll read them on the air. So that's okay. You guys have been busy. We've been busy. We took a week off. Yeah. So here we are. If you're listening to the audio podcast, then you won't know any different. But if you check out our live streams, we took a week off.
We weren't here last week.
Yep, we were not. So, yep.
All right. Retro Ramble, what you got for us?
Retro Ramble for next week. Retro. If you could live in one 80s movie, what would it be and why?
I like that. All right. That gives me something to think about. Okay.
Yep.
Well, before I let you sign us off, this is kind of a heavy episode. Like we started out talking about like the songs that kind of bring up the emotions and all the feels. And here at the end, before we walk away, I wanted to take a minute and share a moment with everybody. We lost Brian Wilson, founding member of the Beach Boys, this week. I think just yesterday, as we're recording this. And I told Ryan I was going to hijack his outro to do a little moment of reflection, if you will. Beach Boys for us is it's one of those. It's a touchstone.
Yep.
Growing up, our dad always had a Best of Beach Boys cassette in the truck, and we must have listened to it 1,000 times. And those songs just always bring back such fond memories of summer and riding around in that truck with Dad.
Yeah.
And losing the last of the Wilson brothers from the Beach Boys, just I don't know, felt like we need to take a moment and reflect on that.
Yeah.
So play some Beach
agree
Boys
with
this week and remember the good times.
I will tell a quick Beach Boys story now that we're on the topic. I remember, so when we were growing up listening to Beach Boys, my favorite Beach Boys song was Kokomo. I loved it, and I would always ask our Aunt Kathy if she could take me to Kokomo, and she would tell me, "Well, you just wait till your Uncle John gets here, and you can ask him." Our Uncle John was our Aunt Kathy and our father's brother. Thinking that I would never remember whenever I saw him next. And I saw him, and I said, "Hey, Aunt Kathy said that you could take me to Kokomo." And I guess he looked at our Aunt Kathy, and he's like, "What did you tell him?" And she's like, "Where am I supposed to take him?" And Aunt Kathy's just like, "Well, just take him somewhere. It doesn't make it," because I was like 4, 5 maybe. She said, "Just take him somewhere. It doesn't make any difference. Just tell him it's Kokomo." So he took me to a gas station there around Brookfield, and I thought for years that the song Kokomo was about that gas station. For years, I thought it was, and I thought the name of the gas station was Kokomo, and I still called it Kokomo up through, I don't know, even high school. Like in high school I knew it wasn't Kokomo, but like I'd be over visiting, be visiting our aunt, and we're gonna go somewhere, and it's like, "Hey, you want to stop by Kokomo real quick and get something to drink or whatever?" And she's like, "Yeah." So yeah,
that's funny. I think I remember it being referred to as Kokomo.
Yep.
I had a very similar experience with Aunt Kathy growing up too. Kokomo came out in like late 80s, I think, early 90s. It was like one of the last songs they released, one of the last big songs they released, and so it was really popular right around that age. I really enjoyed it. It was one of I like the song and everything.
I think John Stamos was playing with them at that point too, so that kind of added to the.
Oh, was it? Because I know he did the thing on Full House. Like, they had him on Full House.
He was actually touring with them, I think, for a while. So.
Okay. But, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, anyways, I really liked the song too, and our Aunt Kathy made me a mixtape, and it was Kokomo and "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Repeated over and over as many times as it could be repeated on this cassette tape, and I played that thing all the time. Those were 2 of my favorite songs at the time, and I listened to them literally on repeat for 60 minutes on one side and 60 minutes on the other side, or however long. I can't remember how long
so
cassettes ran for, but
that's so funny.
Yeah. And we talked about, I think we referred to that same gas station as Kokomo, and in our little road trips and stuff too. So that's funny that's where it comes from. Came from.
Yep.
Well,
let us know if you've got any Beach Boys memories. Great band. I still listen to them. One of my favorite albums of all time is Pet Sounds. I've got it on vinyl, and it sounds great. Good having everybody here. Actually, I think it's in stereo. It was. It's the re-release of it, the repressing of it. So I haven't been able to find the original, but still really good. So, but anyway, appreciate y'all being here. Remember, sharing is caring, and leave us reviews, leave us comments. We'll read them on the air. We'd love to interact with you. And until next time, be kind, rewind. We will see you next week.
See y'all around.
This Podcast Takes Tokens is a Clay Street production.